Hey free-to-play gang, welcome back to another video. So for today, we are going to talk about Brewster, and there's a reason why I stayed away from covering Brewster, and the main reason is because I do not have him fully skilled up. In fact, I do not have him skilled up at all. Now then, the question to ask is it worth it to skill him up? I feel like in most cases, if you want him to excel, you really need to skill him up. And the reason for that is his purpose. So for his third skill here, okay, so there are a few reasons why people will want to use Brewster, and the main reasons are going to be Kronos and Apep. Yes, I know, Ritual Miracles. But the thing is, with a cooldown of 5 turns, this is not good enough. You need to have at most a cooldown of 4 turns in order for you to consistently cast your skill on the first wave and then on the third wave as well. But I'm still going to show you how he works by using an Anki Chai so that I can reduce his cooldowns to 4 turns. But let's take a look at his skills, right? So in your dreams, attacks one enemy, deals 90% attack damage. With an 80% chance of inflicting defense down for 2 turns, you will need to max this skill because it goes up to a trigger chance of 100%. And the second skill, Fast and Furious, attacks one enemy, deals 150% attack damage, inflicts stun for 1 turn. Now upon successful infliction, gains 2 stacks of reload and attack, otherwise increases the damage dealt by 30%. Now for this skill, it is only going to be useful if you can stun Espers, right? But what if you cannot stun the enemy? So for example, let's say you're up against the Ritual boss or maybe some Temporal Tower bosses or maybe even the Sentinel Hunt, right? This skill will not be able to grant you reload attack stack, so do take note of that. This is only going to be a damaging skill. And finally, for his third skill, this is like the main selling point, right? So grants crit rate up to all allies for 2 turns, attacks one enemy, deals 240% attack damage, and inflicts buff blocker for 2 turns. And upon landing a crit, you then erase the enemy's AP, and you gain 5 reload attack stacks afterwards. So he has buff blocker, he has erasing enemies AP, and he also has a stun, which means that he will need a little bit of accuracy if you want to use him for some content, like let's say in like PvP or all of that, right? So that's actually a problem for DPS Espers, but the thing is, at least he grants himself crit rate, so you do not need to invest so much into his crit rate. You can then transfer a little bit of that into his accuracy. Now what does reload attack do? Good question. Assist while an ally attacks. So you will assist with your first skill over here, which is going to be your defense break skill, which is what sells him the most. Now the next attack will restore HP equal to 10% of the damage done. While attacking, gains AP based on the number of reload attack stacks, AP plus 6% per stack, max 6 stacks. So if you have 6 stacks, you will increase your AP by 36% whenever you attack or whenever you land an assist based on this skill. So obviously it goes down and down and down. So from 36 it goes to 30, it goes to 24, blah 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 blah. But do take note that whenever you attack, you are going to lose 1 single stack of this, right? And by attacking, I mean you actively using a skill or you assisting as well. Now finally, what I really like about his kit is going to be this attack lead over here, which is 40% in basically all PvE content. Now let's talk a little bit about his kit, right? So here are the relics that I have on him. I built him a little bit faster because I want him to take the first turn in order to learn his third skill first so that he can do a little bit of assisting attacks at the same time. And at the same time, I also gave him almost 100% accuracy because I want him to be able to land defense breaks in the Ritual Miracle bosses. But aside from that, I did give him a little bit of crit damage and just a little bit of attack as well. So his damage output in this setup is not going to be insane, but at least he's going to perform his sole function, which is to land defense breaks and to just do some extra follow-up DPS. So here are all of his relics. Right, crit damage, attack, and finally speed. Now real quick, let's take a look at his Ascensions. So we start off with flat attack, flat HP, crit damage plus 15%, attack plus 15%, and crit rate plus 15%. Everything 15%. Very nice. So let's take a look at Kronos 16. This is obviously going to be extremely pay to win. So we are leading with Brewster for the 40% attack lead. And here are the stats of Gaius. Here are the stats of Ashley. And here's the stats of Lewis. And this is really interesting, okay? You will take a look in just a moment. And here are the stats of Anki Chai. So how this is supposed to work is the Ashley is going to synergize really well with Brewster because of her passive effect as well. We will see that in just a bit as well. And Ashley also allows Anki Chai to reduce the cooldown of everyone on the team. So there is some extra synergy over there. And honestly, I really like using Ashley for Kronos. I do use her for my normal Kronos runs. And now, the reason why I'm using Anki Chai is because my third skill is not maxed on Brewster, right? Like I said earlier. So it's going to be very crucial that we reduce our cooldown to 4 turns with Anki Chai so that when we enter the boss wave, Brewster is going to start off with his third skill again. So just observe this. There you go. So now we have the 5 stacks on Brewster over here, right? And here comes all the defense breaks and all the good stuff. But I want you to pay attention to what Lewis can do because even though this is not really a Lewis showcase, he is going to do a lot of damage for us. So that's about 50,000. And here comes an additional 92,000. So that's about 141,000 or 142,000 damage just like that. Which is crazy. Okay, we didn't manage to kill the boss in 1 hit, which is unfortunate. but we should still be able to do this. It's gonna be a little bit slower. On a normal day, right? At least on a normal day, this would clear the boss super fast. And by super fast, I mean relatively fast. Because the thing is, if you have a Gaius, you're just gonna use a Gaius Q combo. So 1 minute 4 seconds is not that bad. I think if we removed some of the animations and some of the extra attacks from the boss, we will definitely be sub 1 minute. Oh, and I forgot to explain the part where Lewis is important. Okay, so the reason why Lewis is so good here is because Brewster also synergizes really well with Lewis for the fact that Lewis double hits. So for each of Lewis' attacks, Brewster will then follow up with an additional attack as well. And on top of Brewster's combo with Lewis, whenever any of them land a crit, Ashley is also going to apply her own passive effect onto the boss, which allows us to do a little bit more damage onto the boss. So the synergy here is really good. I think the only Espers here that we do not necessarily need is going to be number 1 Gaius and number 2 Anki Chai. And we do not need Anki Chai only if Brewster's third skill is max. So just remember that. Alright, so let's take a look at Apep 16 this time around, and we are going to bring Anki Chai because we are on crutches right now, like I said, right, because of his third skill. I keep repeating myself about this, but that's super important, and I just realized I forgot to show you my relics. Oh my god. You might take a look at that after this run. So it's kind of like the same thing. So we're going to use Anki Chai to reduce our cooldowns after Ashley takes her turn here. Alright, nice. Okay, and then now we move on to the second wave. Ashley is so good, by the way. Ashley is definitely double, triple S tier. She's so useful for every single content in the game. Okay, so we start off with immunity here, and we land our passive attacking, our third skill. Oh my goodness. And I just realized that, okay, that was kind of odd. My Ashley did not use her third skill. I wonder why that was the case. I wasn't really paying too much of attention there. But as you can see, we are landing all our defense breaks pretty well. And you might also notice that I am using Sander and not using Lewis. And the reason for that is, I feel like Sander gives a better win rate than Lewis because I'm not exactly very sure why that's the case. Maybe it's due to the fact that Lewis just moves a lot slower. So that could be the reason why. And we almost lost, obviously, but it's kind of iffy for me for Apep 16. So Apep 16 is not very consistent for me in most cases, so I'm actually quite happy about this. So 1 minute 14 seconds, it's decently fast. Okay, like I promised earlier, let's take a look at the stats, right? So we have Sander here, who is a new Esper to showcase, so he has 197 speed. So slower than both Brewster and Ashley, and here are the stats of Gabrielle. She's definitely going to be the fastest, but I don't really think that her speed is that important. As long as she's the fastest, all is okay. Okay, so I went ahead to watch the recording and I understand why Ashley didn't use her third skill in the boss wave, and the reason for that is because Anki Chai reduced her cooldowns twice within the first wave itself. And he did it because of both his passive and his active skills, so that was a little bit unfortunate for us. But let's take a look at this again. Hopefully Anki Chai does not do that, and maybe we might get a faster runtime. Okay, so everything is still the same, right? So we get our attack buff here. Anki Chai, please do not passive cooldown reduce. Wow! We didn't even reduce our cooldowns this time around. Is this still gonna work? I wonder. I think it might work. Okay, it's not gonna work. Is it not gonna work? It is gonna work. It is gonna work, right? It is gonna work. Yeah, we're okay. I was too focused on Ashley and I forgot that Ashley has a 4 turns cooldown on her third skill, so it is still gonna work regardless. Oh, there goes Brewster. What the hell? He died instantly. Okay, we're gonna do this again this time around with the Gabrielle HP lead here. And see how it works. Alright. Nice. Okay, we are okay. Ashley is not gonna use her third skill on the second wave this time around. Oh, but we are screwed this time around because now our Brewster is not gonna be able to use his third skill, isn't it? Because he got double cooldown reduced over here. But you can see that he's actually helping a little bit with the DPS, right? Because he's just doing a lot of support attacks. Yeah, big rip. Okay, so from what you can see here, it's very clear that you should not rely on Anki Chai for consistent runs because he's going to make things a lot more inconsistent, and therefore you will need Brewster to have his third skill capped. That is like a must-have. But now the problem is it really worth it? Right? Is it really worth it to max your Brewster? Because number one, he needs a lot of Espers to synergize really well together, right? To be his best, right? So to speak. So number one, Ashley is going to be quite crucial because Ashley has the attack buff, while Brewster has the crit rate buff, right? So that duality is actually really nice. And at the same time, you might need to have Lewis if you're going to lose this run. At the same time, you might need to have Lewis as well for, you know, just to abuse his extra attacks. Pursuits don't work, by the way. Pursuits attacks do not work with Brewster. And at the end of the day, you're most likely going to just use him in Kronos and Apep. You're not going to be using him in PvP at all. I don't even think you're going to be using him in Holo Battle. I don't think you'll be using him in Point War. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Honestly, just running like a Dahlia team and that should work out perfectly fine for you. And I don't think you're gonna use him in Temporal Tower or any of the other harder PvE contents. I don't even think that he's really that good in Sentinel Hunt. I might change my mind about that in the future, but right now, I don't feel like his DPS is so amazing that he's going to be so essential for Sentinel Hunt, for example. So that's it for this showcase. Let me know down in the comments how you feel about Brewster. Did I give him a valid showcase? Is there anything else that I missed? Is there anything else that I should have showcased as well? Let me know where you find him useful in, and hopefully we can revisit this Esper game in the future. But from where it stands right now, I don't feel like there is a dire need for me to max skill him. In fact, I don't even think I'm going to skill him at all. I'm probably just going to bench him for a good period of time. There is very little reason why I want to incorporate Brewster into my daily gameplay, for example. He's definitely not a Gaius, he's definitely not an Ashley. There is no way that I would even decide to use him because honestly, crit rate buff is also not such a big deal. So these are just my opinions. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, it really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now with that said, this has been Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.